Can someone send Denise Glover the calendar, please?
Ms. Glover, have you received it?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a minute before we begin, but has the public defender's office or any defense attorneys had the opportunity to use the interpreter to interview their clients?
I haven't yet, Your Honor.
Can we start that now? Thank you.
I can't hear anything. Can you hear me, Clarissa?
I can hear you loud and clear. You can't hear?
Say something else. You can hear us now. We can't hear you.
No.
No, we can't hear you anymore.
Let me log off and
Okay,
rejoin.
we can hear you.
now.
Don't log off.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, it's 2 p.m. It was my hope that Ms. Chancey could help Ms. Thomas and whoever else might need to interview their clients with assistance from the interpreter. I'm hoping we can get this courtroom 2 here.
Courtroom 2 was just present, and Miss
Okay.
Chancey.
There they are.
Hey,
All
Joe.
right, good afternoon. Before we begin, can we discuss the interpretation? Are those who need interpretation at courtroom 2, or will they be taken elsewhere?
Yeah, it's gonna be, I'm gonna log on to Zoom. It's gonna say jail court's iPhone. So give me about 2 minutes to get the cell phone.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I appreciate that.
And also, for the benefit of everybody, the reset date for the SAP calendar is June the 22nd.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater. All right, let's begin. This is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. I am Judge Melanie Williams. Today is Saturday, June the 10th of 2023. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney at this particular proceeding. To all participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. All right. Let's begin. I know we'll be waiting on interpretation. We'll do those as soon as practical. Who do we have first?
Position 1, Adams.
All right, good afternoon, Ms. Adams. Your case is 23 CR 003673A. In this case, you're charged with reckless conduct with the offense date of June the 9th of 2023. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have that history, please?
Third arrest. Last was back in April, failure to appear. 2019, simple battery DV, not prosecuted.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Falk, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, this happened June 9th, 2023 at 2470 Cheshire Bridge Road, Northeast. That's the Helios Apartments. Officers responded to a report of an abandoned child, and they met with Katori Eason, who is an officer and a resident at Helios, who stated that someone was knocking on his door. And when he opened the door, a 4-year-old child by the name of H.A. told him he was looking for his mother. H.A. also said his mother was gone for 4 hours and that he was sleeping with her. And when he woke up, she was not there. Officer Eason then took H.A. to the leasing manager and called 911. Office manager Sam Delbridge stated that she had contacted the defendant. The defendant stated she was in the supermarket and was walking to the building. However, the defendant arrived in a limousine and was detained by the officers. When questioned, she stated she was at the supermarket, but did not provide any additional detail. The state's main concern is about that, well, not only for the safety of the child, but about that FTA in April 2023, which shows that she may not be the best risk on bond, being that she is a established flight risk for having an FTA. We are requesting a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with HA unless it's in compliance with DFACS orders, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. I will say that based on the warrant, it appears that DFACS was called out to the location, and the defendant did release HA to a family friend.
And HA is allegedly still with that family friend as far as the state is aware?
Yes, this occurred yesterday. As far as we're aware, HA is still with the family friend.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. St. Flex.
Yes, Judge. It is our understanding that the child is with the family friend. So we are asking Judge, based on her history, she doesn't have any prior convictions. She has significant ties to the community. She's been here for almost 10 years. She went to trade school here. We are asking the court to order a signature bond in her case. We do not believe that she will have any issues appearing for court. We don't know whether the FTA in April was due to a change of address issue because she has moved. And further, Your Honor, we would ask that the court not impose a no further contact. As stated, the DHR, the Child Services was involved. They were communicated to. Right now, when I spoke to Ms. Miriam, she does have custody of her child. And so ordering no further contact would be pretty much implementing no custody for her at this moment. And we don't know how long her case is going to be open. This is a 2023. And so we think that DHR, if they deem sufficient, they have the resources, they do the investigation to determine whether or not a child should be allowed to stay in the home or removed. And we would ask that the court allow them to do that investigation and come to that determination. And further, as far as the 4 hours, we don't have, that was stated by the child according to the police report, but there's nothing in the report that states that they were in contact with any witnesses or anyone who the child went to the house of, and that they were waiting for hours on Miss Miriam to return back to the location. So we don't know if Miss Miriam was actually gone for 4 hours or a few minutes based on what she said of her going to the supermarket. So we would just ask that she was recommended for pretrial, but due to her financial situation and her car situation, we do think it's going to be difficult for her to go back and forth to pretrial reporting. So we would ask that she's given a signature bond through the jail.
Okay, let's, in the meantime, I see the jail court iPhone has logged on. Can we put Ms. Chancey in with jail courtroom 3 and Ms. Thomas? All right, and in the meantime, this defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond. She's to comply with all defects orders regarding contact. The court will defer to the defects investigation. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. And can we take a position that belongs to Ms. St. Flex, not Ms. Thomas? Thank you.
Your Honor, I did put the breakout people in the chat. just for the-
Okay,
Position 4.
all right. Are you Casey Bennett? Ms. Bennett, your case is 23 CR 003674Y. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass and public drunkenness with the offense date of June the 5th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Howard,
It's arrest.
you said
Right.
5th?
Yep.
Okay.
Last arrest was in April for trespass. 2019 DUI conviction. 2018 battery DV simple battery PTI.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. The officers in this case went to the location of the courtyard at Marriott at 12655 Deerfield Parkway in Alpharetta. The manager, Matthew James, stated the defendant was in room 264 and had not paid for the room for the day. James also stated that if the defendant did not pay for the room, he wanted her criminally trespass. The officers then went and talked to the defendant, told her she needed to pay or leave. She cursed the officers out, gave them the middle finger. Defendant was slurring her words, had glassy eyes, and there was a nearly empty liquor bottle in her presence. She also continued to refuse to leave the property multiple times and finally had to be removed from the property by the officers, arrested and detained. As she was being brought outside, she was screaming and cursing at the employees and kicking the patrol vehicle cage. We do have a 2019 DUI conviction out of Fulton County for following too closely in DUI. And this is also an incident that seemed to have involved alcohol. The state's recommendation is a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. We are recommending ADET in this case, being that this is the second time within about 4 years she's had some sort of issue involving alcohol. We are also recommending a stay away from 12655 Deerfield Parkway, the courtyard at Marriott. No further contact with General Manager Matthew James. That's all for the state.
Okay, thank you, Ms. St. Clair.
Yes, Your Honor. We have no objection to the signature bond request. We do believe there's a possible Riverside issue because Mrs. Bennett was arrested on 6/5 and today is 6/10. Based on my conversation with her as far as the charges, she is not really sure of the person who was in the hotel with her where they went during the time. I don't know how public drunk came from this situation. I don't believe there's any probable cause for that as the allegations were read out. This was alleged to have occurred in a hotel, so I don't understand where the public drunk charge came from if she was inside of hotel room. Additionally, as regards to the criminal trespass, we are asking for a signature bond. She has significant ties to the community. She's lived in Georgia her entire life. She has a mother, brother, and a court date for the 16th on a civil case for custody of her daughter. So it is important for her to be released. Before she was arrested, she was working at Central Staffing Solutions. And so we would just ask the court to not order the ADET, as that is a $150 evaluation. And so if someone is unable to pay for that, as Ms. Bennett is, because she's currently on and off employment at a staffing agency and doesn't have stable housing, then it puts her in a punitive situation if she does not pay for that, and then ends up violating the conditions of her bond. So
Okay. I think we're all agreed. Yeah, we're gonna give her that signature bond through
Okay.
pretrial. I'm not gonna order the AET at this time. Okay. So defendant will receive a $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge if she was not recommended. $3,000 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2. She's to absolutely stay away from that courtyard, Marriott, and she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further that pertains to her case?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Best of luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Position 2, Adams.
Okay. Okay, my calendar just disappeared. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Adams. Your case is 23 CR 3683F. You're charged with obstruction. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Mr. Howard?
First,
That's right. Thank you. All right, Ms. Falk, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at 102 Ollie Street Northwest on June 9th, 2023. Officers were made aware of a large fight breaking out after seeing several people fighting. They responded to the location, tried to break up the large fight that was occurring. The officer told the entire group to stop fighting, deployed OC spray in an attempt to break up the fight. And even though one group of the males dispersed, another group began fighting shortly after, of which the defendant was a part of that group. The officer attempted again to break that group up, and in order to gain control, ended up tasing this defendant because he was not complying with the order to stop fighting and to disperse. The state's recommendation, as this is his first arrest, is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from the location of 102 Ollie Street Northwest. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all.
In the same place?
Yes, Judge, we would just ask that his signature bond is through the jail and not through pretrial. It's my understanding that he just graduated from college a month ago. He's supposed to start a job at Deloitte as a strategy consultant in a month. He has a degree in economics, graduated from Morehouse with a 3.7 GPA, and was on the dean's list every semester. Because of him about to start his work, I did speak with him about possibly being a candidate for the diversion program, and hopefully that being something where he can get his case worked out. But based on his no history, we don't want him reporting a pretrial and that becoming an issue for him and his job, as well as his record right now, because he would have to tell them that he's reporting to a probation-like pretrial program every month, his new job. So we would just ask the court to order his signature bond through the jail.
I'm sorry, pretrial isn't reporting via video or by phone? I didn't think the
they
defendant
can
had.
report in person now.
Oh, okay.
They can report via Zoom if I order that.
Okay.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through the jail. He's to stay away from that incident location, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing
Okay.
further from the state.
Okay, best of luck to you, sir. What do we have next?
Position 3, Allen.
Your Honor, I requested a breakout for him.
Okay. Is there another position we could go to?
Position 6, Dean. Hold on.
Okay.
Is,
They coming back to you. Sit over there for a minute.
And is that your case, Ms. St. Flex? Just make sure. This is
that
six.
looks like Mr. Alex Dean, who I requested a breakout. Mr. DeAnthony Dean, I waived his presence and he is position 6, so we can move forward with his hearing.
Okay. All right, so this is the Anthony Dean before me now?
No, I
Okay,
think that's Mr. Alex Dean before you, Judge.
and that's the one you want to break out?
Yes, but we can move forward with Mr. DeAnthony Dean, who's position 6. But I did waive his presence.
If he's here anyway.
Can I ask
Okay.
you-
No, he's not here. That's Mr. Alex Dean.
Oh, well, we'll do the waived at the end. Are there any other positions in which Ms. St. Flex does not wish for a breakout that we could take? Are we ready for the interpretation position? Ms. Thomas, you're back? Let's do that one. Okay, can we take the interpretation, please? What position is interpretation?
I
It's
believe position 8.
Okay. The position of Carmen Frazier?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, Ms. Chancey, please state your name for the record.
My name is Adriana Chancey.
All right, Ms. Chancey, do you swear and affirm today that you will make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your skills, knowledge, and abilities?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you. All right, there's Ms. Frazier. All right, good afternoon, Ms. Frazier. I'm Judge Melanie Williams.
Buenas tardes, señora Fraser. Yo soy la jueza Melanie Williams.
Your case is 23 CR 003675F.
Su número de caso es 23CR00367-3675F.
In this case, you're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of June the 9th.
Y en este caso, usted tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, ocurrido el día 9 de junio del 2023.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga con respecto a los hechos de su caso puede usarse y se usará en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney, and Ms. Thomas is present and available to assist you today with this hearing.
Usted tiene derecho a ser representada por una abogada y la señorita Thomas está aquí para representarla en su caso.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded.
Este proceso está siendo publicado por la internet en vivo y también está siendo grabado.
That means any member of the public can log on and watch.
Eso lo que quiere decir es que todo miembro del público puede entrar a la plataforma y observar.
You understand your rights and how I'm conducting this hearing today?
¿Usted entiende sus derechos y cómo estoy conduciendo esta audiencia hoy? Yes.
All right, thank you. Because it's her first arrest, let's go straight to Ms. Falk.
Yes,
Señora
Your Honor.
Polk.
This incident happened June 9th, 2023 at 9:27 a.m. at 1155 La Vista Road.
One moment, please. Este episodio ocurrió el 9 de junio del 2023 a las 9:27 en el 115 de La Vista Road.
Officers encountered defendant and her husband, Desmond Frazier, who is here on the Zoom.
Los oficiales de policía se reunieron con la acusada y con su esposo Desmond Frazier, que está aquí en la plataforma.
Officers observed shattered glass, broken vases, shattered jewelry, and overturned furniture throughout the apartment.
Los oficiales observaron vidrio roto, jarrones, también como billutería o joyas rotas y también los muebles todos dados vuelta.
Mr. Frazier stated the defendant had been accusing him of being unfaithful, which she admitted to doing, as well as trashing the house.
El señor Fraser dijo que la acusada lo había acusado de ser infiel, lo que ella admitió, al igual que ella admitió haber hecho un desastre en la casa.
Mr. Frazier stated he was in the shower when the defendant burst into the room to confront him.
El señor Fraser dijo que estaba dándose una ducha cuando la señora Fraser entró para confrontarlo.
And when he tried to move her out of his face, she started breaking things and hit him and struck him with the jewelry stand.
Cuando él trató de alejarla de él, ponerle una distancia, ella comenzó a romper cosas, lo golpeó con un recipiente de joyas.
Mr. Frazier had swelling and a knot on the rear of his head that was observed by the officers,
I'm sorry, swelling and what else?
and a knot on
Oh,
the back of his head that were observed by the officers.
Lo que los oficiales observaron es que el señor Fraser tenía hinchazón y un chichón en la parte de atrás de la cabeza.
Our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Frazier, who stated they have had arguments in the past, but not like this incident.
La defensora de víctima habló con el señor Fraser, a quien le comentó que habían tenido ellos dos más peleas anteriores, pero no como esta.
He also stated the defendant called the police because she was trying to get him arrested and has a jealous streak that gets out of hand sometimes.
También la acusada trató de llamar a la policía, pero porque ella tiene la costumbre de tener estos así actitudes inmediatas.
Although Mr. Frazier wants the defendant to return to the home, we do have concerns there has not been a sufficient cooling off period.
A pesar de que el señor Fraser quiere que la acusada vuelva, la fiscalía tiene la inquietud de que todavía no ha habido un tiempo de distanciamiento para calmarse las cosas hasta ahora.
State's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from 1155 La Vista Road, apartment 2316. No further contact with Desmond Frazier, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That is all.
La fiscalía propone una una fianza bajo garantía de $3,000 y que se mantenga alejada de la dirección 115 La Vista Road, el departamento 2316, que se termine el contacto con el señor Fraser y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté bajo fianza.
And we would like to sound for Mr. Frazier.
Y queremos llamar al señor Fraser, por favor. Señor Desmond Fraser, ¿puede prender su cámara y micrófono?
All right, Mr. Frazier, if you would like to make a statement, I need you to turn on your camera and raise your right hand.
Tiene que levantar. Oh, I'm sorry. He speaks English.
Okay. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, put your hand down. Now, I'm not sentencing anyone today. There will be this is not an evidentiary hearing. What I'm most concerned with today is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant and whether you have any concerns for your safety. With those instructions in mind, what would you like to tell the court?
Yo lo que quiero es que saber que si...
I speak English very well.
But let him translate for her. Ms.
My
Chancellor,
apologies.
translate for
My
her.
apologies.
Please do.
Lo que quiero saber es que si usted quiere que su esposa regrese a la casa y si tiene temor a su esposa. Este no es una audiencia para presentar evidencias ni saber lo que ocurrió.
Please proceed, Mr. Frazier.
Yes, I have no concern as it relates to her being here and she wanting to hurt me or anything in that nature. She has nowhere to go if she's not allowed to be here. This is her home. I am her husband, and I think I have the responsibility to ensure that she has a safe home and a comfortable home, which is right here. She's a wonderful person. I love her and I want her to be here. It's just that my concern and recommendation, if I may, is to say that I would love to get some form of psychological help, counseling for her, because it's clear that, you know, when her jealous streak pops up and she may get, you know, angry, out of control, 90% of the time is not to physically abuse me, but to just quarrel and argue, which we have been through. But I do believe, you know, that there is some underlying issue, and there should be a way in order for her to be able to control her temper, or if there's an underlying issue that caused her to relate like this, maybe trauma in the past. I'm not a psychologist, but I do believe that some form of counseling will help her. But apart from that, I think I'm quite comfortable, and her home is here, and I'd love for her to be to return to a comfortable space.
Okay, one moment, please.
Okay, I apologize. I forgot. We should have broken that down.
Yes, I should have done it. I'm sorry.
We should have stopped you. We may need you to do some shortened statement again, Mr.
Yes.
Fraser. So let's ask some short questions. Do you wish for the defendant to be able to return home?
¿Usted
Yes,
quiere
I
que
do.
regrese su esposa a su casa? Sí,
Yes, I do.
sí.
All right. And tell us about your fear. Do you have fear and concerns about the defendant?
Cuéntenos sobre su temor a la acusada.
Her control, there should be strategies on her end to be able to deal with her anger issues and the jealous streak that she has.
Debe establecerse un tipo de estrategia para que ella pueda controlar sus celos y su ira.
And I would just like to, you know, recommend some form of counseling. I have also contacted at least 4 different therapists to set up an appointment where we can begin that process, because I do think
Quisiera, por favor, pedir un asesoramiento. Yo ya he contactado 4 fuentes y también para tratar de hacer una cita para que ella pueda recibir ayuda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to court and making that statement.
Se lo agradezco que haya venido a hacer esta declaración.
Ms. Thomas?
Señora Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be requesting a signature bond on behalf of Ms. Frazier.
Yo voy a pedir una firma bajo fianza de parte de la señora Fraser.
Given her lack of finances, Ms. Frazier is unemployed. And as we heard that Ms. Frazier has no criminal history.
Debido a la carencia de ingresos y también porque ella no está empleada y ella, I'm sorry, what was the last statement?
Given Ms. Frazier has no criminal history.
Oh, thank you. Y debido a que ella no tiene antecedentes penales.
We asked for the court to grant her a signature bond. Ms. Frazier is 46 years of age.
Por eso le pedimos una fianza bajo firma. La señora Fraser tiene 46 años.
She is a mother of 2 children.
Ella es la madre de 2 hijos.
She has moved to Georgia from Pennsylvania with her husband.
Él ya se mudó a Georgia de Pensilvania con su esposo.
Ms. Frazier is also a college graduate.
También ella es graduada de la universidad.
And she expressed to me that she wishes to have continued contact with her husband.
Y ella me expresó que quiere continuar el contacto con su esposo.
She expressed that they were in the process of trying therapy together
Me contó que ellos estaban en el proceso de obtener terapia juntos
and wishes for that opportunity to continue seeking therapy together and to continue their relationship.
y me pide que le pida la oportunidad de continuar la terapia juntos y mantenerse juntos.
She expressed that Mr. Frazier is the primary financial income earner
También me comentó que el señor Fraser es el que da el sustento financiero primario
and that she has no other relatives in Georgia.
y que no tiene ningún otro pariente en Georgia.
So she would not have anywhere else to go unless she went to Florida to be with her daughter.
Entonces ella no tendría un lugar a donde ir a no ser que se fuera a Florida con su hija.
So we asked the court to allow her to return back to the marital residence
Por eso le pido a su señoría que le permita regresar a la residencia matrimonial
and that she be allowed no further violent contact with her husband.
y que no se le permita tener más contacto violento con su esposa, con su esposo.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Entonces ahora establezco una fianza de $4,000 bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
Needs to take the one-day anger awareness course.
Tiene que tomarse el curso de un día de concientización de la ira.
She's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim.
No queda prohibido el contacto violento con la víctima alegada
And she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
y queda prohibido el uso del alcohol, drogas y armas.
Is there anything further from the state of the defense?
¿Hay algo más?
Nothing from the state.
Nothing further.
Nada
Don't
de la
forget to let her
fiscalía.
know about orientation.
Sobre la orientación. What would you
Yes.
like to say, sir?
Mr. Howard, what does she need to know other than will there be someone there to interpret at that time? And then she needs to do what?
She needs to go to orientation when they give her the paper before she get released.
Le van a dar un papel que relacionado, señora, a la orientación, para que usted debe presentarse en la oficina de servicios previos al juicio. Le van a dar un papel antes de irse de ahí.
Mr. Howard, do you all have an interpreter that'll be able to help Ms. Frazier?
They should order one.
Okay.
Van a ordenar un intérprete.
All right, that concludes your hearing. Best of luck to you, Ms. Frazier.
Buena suerte para usted, señora Fraser.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, and best of luck to you as well, Mr. Frazier. Ms. Chancey, before you go, will you please sound?
Yes, Your Honor. ¿Hay alguien que necesite la asistencia de un intérprete en español para hablar con la jueza? Por favor, prenda su cámara.
All right, hearing and seeing
All right.
none. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, Your Honor.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Ms.
You
Chancey.
too. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, bye-bye.
Position 9.
All right. I apologize. Give me one moment. All right. Good afternoon. Are you Lynch? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. Your last name is Lenche Bustos. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Your case is 23 CR 003676C. In this case, you're charged with battery, family violence, and 3 counts of cruelty to children in the third, with the offense date of June the 16th of 2021. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Falk?
This incident happened June 16th, 2021 at 1818 Ridgeway Avenue in Atlanta. Oh, this is not an interpreter case. My apologies. Mr. Obeth Bustos stated he brought his children, 3 children, AB, OB, and SK, to the park at the Ridgeway address. While Mr. Bustos was at the location, he received a phone call from the defendant his estranged wife and mother of his children. The defendant asked where he was. He told her he was in the park with the kids. After the call, the defendant arrived at the park and struck him in the back of the head with a traffic cone and in the face. Mr. Bustos, when officers arrived, they observed a swollen bottom lip and cuts to the inside of Mr. Bustos's mouth. He stated the defendant then grabbed the children and forced them into a vehicle. He stated he couldn't stop the defendant from taking the children, and he showed officers a cell phone video of the defendant yelling at him before getting into a vehicle and leaving. Miss Mela Bustos, who's Mr. Bustos's aunt, called him and told him that the defendant had brought the children back to the home that he shares with his aunt and was assaulting them and throwing away their things. The defendant went to that location and spoke to the children, who said their mother struck them in the face, but the defendant herself was gone. We did try to reach out to Mr. Bustos and left a message inquiring and requesting for him to appear in court today. I do not see him, but I would still like to sound for him. Of particular note is that the defendant has a prior family violence battery in 2017 that was dismissed after she completed FVIP. And the warrant in that case alleged that she punched Mr. Bustos in the face. So this is not the first interaction she's had with Mr. Bustos, her estranged husband. She also has a 2021 conviction for giving false name out of Snellville. The state would recommend a $5,000 surety bond, stay away from 1505 Chattahoochee Avenue Northwest, apartment 113, which is where Mr. Bustos lived at the time with his aunt. No further contact with Mr. Bustos or their 3 children, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That would be split. Well, let's do 5,500. So that would be 4,000 on the battery, 500 on each of the cruelty to child in the 3rd degree, for a total of 5,500, Your Honor. Nothing further.
All right. And I apologize. I thought this was the first arrest. Mr. Howard, will you give us the full history, please?
That was it.
That was it. Okay. Ms. Thomas, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Ms. Lancha Bustos strongly denies these allegations, and she says she would be more than prepared to fight these allegations against her in court. She says she has not only videos, but witnesses attesting that Mr. Bustos has continued to pin false allegations against her. She states that these allegations did not start until she began to pursue a divorce against him and began a new relationship. Ms. Bustos is 30 years of age. She has been a Georgia resident her whole life. She is the proud mother of 5 children, 3 of which are shared with Mr. Bustos. Ms. Lancha Bustos completed college in 2011 at Lauren Tech Institute, and she's also gainfully employed at Kids Like Me Daycare. She's been there for almost 2 months now. She did express to me that she's currently residing with her current fiance. However, given that she has not been at work long, the fiance is the primary income owner, so she would not have the finances to post a high surety bond. I am actually asking for a signature bond on her behalf, given the limited criminal history that she does have, Your Honor, and given the limited finances. We have no problem with the no further contact with Mr. Bustos. She does not want contact with him. However, we are asking for contact with the children. So we will be asking for no further violent contact with the children. With her, the kids do come to stay with Ms. Lancha Bustos. I believe the custody is shared between them 2. So we'll be asking for that. And then the alternative, if Ms. Bustos is not eligible for a signature bond, we would be asking for a bond amount no more than $3,000.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive, let me do the math. I apologize. Hold on. Okay, defendant will receive a $3,000 surety bond. It'll be $1,500 on the first count, battery family violence, and $500 on each remaining count. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim. They can use the third party to transfer the children. I will allow the contact with the children to remain in the hands of DFACS. Additionally, she's to stay away from that incident location and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, I will just say I don't think DFACS was involved or called out on this case. I may be incorrect, but nothing in the warrant indicates that.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you, Ms. Falk. Well, we'll leave it still at that. I won't exclude the contact with the children. All right, is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Position 12, Ms. Wade.
Also, Your Honor, I have not received any waivers. So if anybody's waiving a case, please submit it to me.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater. All right, Ms. Way, your case is 23 CR 003679Y. In this case, you're charged with battery of family violence with the offense date of June the 9th. Do you understand your rights?
I do.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
Third arrest, 2015 simple battery dismissed.
Okay. All right, Ms. Falk.
This happened June 9th, 2023 at 1127 Cato Street. Eddie Turner stated he was having a verbal dispute that turned physical with the defendant, the mother of his child, who he lives with. Mr. Turner stated he closed the bedroom door in the defendant's face and she slammed the door back open, hitting him in his face. He stated he did not know with what or how he was hit, but he felt blood running down his face. He also stated that the defendant stated that Turner pushed the bathroom door, hitting her, and she pushed it back, hitting him, and they began physically fighting. No injuries were observed to the defendant's person. However, Mr. Turner sustained a knot and bleeding to his right eyebrow. We did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Turner, and we would like the court to sound for him. He stated that they have been together for 14 years. They have 3 children and reside at that address together, and they do not have a domestic violence history, and he is not in fear of her. He did state that the defendant pushed the door, which caused the edge of the door to hit him, and then he called the ambulance because he was bleeding and wanted to make sure he was okay. The state would like to say that that simple battery was with a different victim and was dismissed after completion of pretrial diversion. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, stay away from 1127 Cato Street, no further contact with Eddie Turner due to the lack of cooling off period in this case. It has been less than 24 hours, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state, and we would like to sound for Mr. Eddie Turner.
All right, is Mr. Turner on the Zoom conference? And wishes to make a statement? All right, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hello.
Oh,
Mr. Turner, are you present? If you're present, you need to turn your camera on so we can identify you. If you wish to make a statement, raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. Remember, I'm not sentencing anyone today, so the facts, if you dispute anything, it's not as important as your desire for contact with the defendant, or whether you have any fear for your safety. With those instructions, what would you like to tell the court?
No, I'm not a victim. I don't have no fear for my safety. I just heard her saying, she got to stay away from 1127. This her house. If anything, I got to go away. So, she got to have an understanding about, like, this not my house. This her house. That's other than that, it's nothing. It's no, I don't got no words.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you coming to court and making that statement.
You're welcome.
Ms. Thomas?
thank you, Your Honor. We will be asking for a signature bond on behalf of Ms. Way. She is 34 years of age. She's been a Georgia resident her whole life. She's a proud mother of 4 children. The ages ranges from 14, 8, 3, and 3 months. I believe the youngest 3 she shares with Mr. Eddie Turner. Ms. Way also completed high school, and she has been gainfully employed at Hollis Cobb Associates. She's been there for over a year. She works as a radiology schedulist, Your Honor. She did express to me, that this has been a whole big misunderstanding. We are asking for contact with Mr. Turner. They are still in a continued relationship. They've never had any issues prior to this misunderstanding. So she does still want contact, and I believe Mr. Turner wants contact with her. They do still communicate on behalf of the children and raise the children together. As we heard from Mr. Turner, that is her address, 1127 Cato Street. Miss Way did express to me that Mr. Turner did have a separate residence, but that he does spend the night or stay over there from time to time, obviously. But we would be asking that no stay away be put in place. And again, we would be asking for contact with Mr. Turner, no further violent contact, I should say, and renewing our request for a signature bond, given her limited history. I believe she had no convictions, Your Honor. An alternative, if she's not eligible, a bond no more than $1,000.
Okay. Defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond at this time. She is to have no further contact with Mr. Turner. However, I will not order the stay away from that location. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And again, contact can be readdressed at the state all-purpose reset date if necessary. And they can arrange to transport the children through a third party.
So that
Your
man,
Honor,
All right, Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, we would just ask that Mr. Turner have at least 48 hours to vacate the premises so that since there isn't no contact order in place.
Okay. All right. But the information though, Ms. Falk, was that he has another address and just spends the night. So with that information, you know.
I understand, but our information in the warrant was that they live together at that residence. So there's just conflicting information at this point.
All right. Understood. All right. Best of luck to you both. Who do we have next?
Position 11, Mitchell.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, your case is 23 CR 003678D. In this case, you're charged with simple battery with the offense date of June the 9th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
Third arrest. We got here. He got an open CP case, unauthorized possession of a weapon by inmate. 22 CP 211215. He's on probation. I got ag assault, 2 counts, ag battery, possession of a firearm during the commission, felony obstruction, possession of a pistol by a person under 18. What else? Hold on. That's 21 SC 179337. Also on probation in state court 22 CR 007678H for a CWET case.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's good. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, he also has a 22 SC 185279 entering auto and theft by taking, where he's sentenced on December 15, 2022. And he is also currently in custody for a probation violation on that aggravated assault, possession of a firearm, which he was just sentenced for about 5 months ago. In this case, this incident happened June 9th, 2023 at around 8:40 a.m. at 1586 Mosley Place, Southwest in Atlanta. Jaquila Freeman was in an argument with the defendant, who's the father of her child. The defendant grabbed her and pushed her as she was after going through her phone and seeing she was texting with another man. We did attempt to reach Miss Freeman. We were unable to reach her with the information we had in the warrant only because we at this time did not have a police report. The state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Jaquila Freeman, stay away from 1586 Mosley Place, Southwest Atlanta, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And this is due in large part to the defendant's violent history, which includes that aggravated assault, multiple counts where he was just sentenced January 3rd, 2023. Additionally, he's on probation. He has a probation violation that he's sitting in jail on that case. So we are concerned about his risk of reoffense as well as his not complying with court orders. That's all for the state.
I'm sorry, and the victim's last name was it? I'm sorry, what was the victim's name again?
Jaquila Freeman, and I can put that in the chat for the litigation manager.
All right, Ms. Freeman, are you present? I wish to make a statement. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mitchell is 19 years of age. He's been a Georgia resident his whole life. He is a father of one child in which he shares that child with Ms. Freeman, and he does have 2 children on the way. Mr. Mitchell is currently in the GED program at Atlanta Tech, and he is doing demolition work with his father. He's been doing that since he's been released. As it pertains to the probation violation, we unaware why there is a violation, but Mr. Mitchell expressed that if it's regarding an FTA of some sort, he was in custody during the time frame. So he is unaware of that, but I'm sure that will be addressed at a later date. Mr. Mitchell will not have the finances to make a $5,000 bond, so we are asking for a reduction in that, given that he does do work with his father, doing demolition. And that is his main source of income. We are asking for a reduction, Your Honor. As far as contact, we are asking for no further violent contact. Mr. Mitchell is denying these allegations. He said that this was a misunderstanding, that neither one of them called the authorities, and that Ms. Freeman did not wish to prosecute, and obviously she wants contact, and that they're in a relationship, they've been in a relationship for a long time, and that, again, they share that one child together. For those reasons, Your Honor, we are asking, given that he also has a probation hold, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. We are asking for a signature bond or a bond no more than $2,000.
All right.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, just really quick, if I may. Did PD Thomas have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Freeman, or is this from the defendant?
I'm not gonna, without Ms. Freeman's statement, I'm not gonna do that anyway. All right, defendant will receive a $2,500 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim, stay away from that location. Should he need to return, he can do so one time with a member of law enforcement. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond.
Your
Is there
Honor,
anything-
yes, I would just have to interject. That is Mr. Mitchell's address in which he resides with his mother. So we would ask for there to be no stay away put in place. Ms. Freeman does not reside at that address.
All right, so what we'll still do is we'll allow him to return with that police escort to ascertain that she's not there. If she's not, then he can return to that location. All right?
Yes.
All right. All right, I know you have a question. The best thing for you to do is to speak to Ms. Thomas after court, okay? I don't want you to mistakenly say something that will be used against you. All right?
Position 10, McClendon.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 003677F. In this case, you're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Yeah.
Is that yes? It's a yes? All
Yeah.
right, Mr. Howard.
18 total. Last arrest was in April, probation. He on probation for ag assault, strangulation. It's 21 SC 1788868. He got a 2023 disorderly conduct, trespass, NOLO, shoplifting from this year, obstruction, terroristic threats, and criminal trespass from this year, and a 2017 possession of cocaine conviction.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, this happened June 8, 2023 at Twin Peaks at 3365 Piedmont Road. The defendant was at that location after being given a previous criminal trespass. He refused to leave when requested to leave by the employees and was sitting at the bar and had to be escorted out of the building after being reminded by the manager that he is not welcome to enter the establishment. As pretrial stated, the defendant is currently on probation for aggravated assault strangulation and has suspended probation for criminal trespass, as well as criminal trespass, obstruction, and terroristic threats. For those reasons, the state is recommending that the $1,000 surety bond that has already been set remain as set. The defendant stay away from Twin Peaks at 3365 Piedmont Road, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. McClendon is currently homeless and financially strained, Your Honor. He said he's been homeless for the past 2 years. Previously, Mr. McClendon was in a rehab facility, and then once released, he obviously lost everything. He was receiving Social Security. However, given that he has no address, he's unsure whether or not his checks have still been coming. He does intend on obtaining his ID so that he can continue to get his checks, and that hopefully he'll be able to go to the Salvation Army and afford to at least stay there. I have requested a social worker to go and speak to Mr. McClendon soon next week, so that we can also assist him in the resources that he may need. But given that he is homeless, he does not have the finances, so any bond is 1K bond is essentially no bond for him. He does understand that he cannot go back to Twin Peaks. I did have that discussion with him, and he does have that understanding. Given that this is a violent offense, Your Honor, I am asking for a signature bond for him to be released, or in the alternative, a bond no more than 500.
All right. Defendant will receive a $2,000 SOB through the jail. He cannot go back to Twin Peaks under any circumstances. He must stay 1,000 yards away from that location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Anything further?
Nothing further. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next? Are all the rest breakouts? I think they are. It's not good.
Are we ready for Mr. Alex?
Is everything okay at courtroom 2?
Yeah, he just refused to sit down, that's all.
I don't know. I don't understand what happened.
Sir, I
What?
need you to be quiet. All right. The rest of the cases, I believe, are breakouts and waivers. So if I could be placed in a breakout with Ms. Falk, Ms. Thomas, Ms. St. Flex. And again, we need to make sure that the waiver is in place for position 6. All right, so if we can go into those breakouts, that'd be great. Thank you.
And Your Honor, Miss Robinson, I will need her for Mr. Douglas, position 7.
Well, we'll bring her in last. Let's
Okay.
talk about all the cases at once and then bring her in.
Okay.
All right, so let's do that and then we'll hold on bringing in Ms. Robinson. We are back on the record. We've discussed some things in breakout. We will not discuss those things. Who is before me right now?
Position 3, Allen.
Okay. All right, let's see, I'm sorry. This is Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen, your case is 23 CR 003684J. In
Yes.
this case, you're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Howard, will you give us the history?
18 total. Last arrest was 2021, 2 counts of simple battery.
All right. I'm aware of the facts. Ms. Falk, if you'd like to put them briefly onto the record.
On the rest of the history?
No, I think
Oh.
we got a good insight as to what's happening here. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant was asleep at the Georgia Building Authority, 180 Central Avenue. The officer asked him to leave the property. He refused after several commands. He was placed into custody.
All right, thank you. Ms. St. Flex?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Allen is 59 years old. He does have a $2,000 bench warrant bond currently on his 2 simple battery charges. And so we would just ask the court to leave his bond the same.
All right, bond will remain as set at the 600 surety. He will undergo evaluations as discussed. He is to stay away from that location and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right, Mr. Allen, best of luck to you. That concludes your hearing today, okay? All right,
Position 6, Dean.
okay. Now, I thought there was a waiver of appearance for Dean, no?
No, that's position 5, Mr. Alex Dean. There's 2 deans today.
Okay, I'm getting confused. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Dean, your case is 23 CR 3681B. You're charged with 2 counts of obstruction. Do you understand your right?
This position number 5, Alex Dean.
That's what I thought. Okay,
Sorry.
and he's the one, we need to take his last. I'm sorry.
Okay, he's the last person.
He's the last person. Okay, 7 waived their appearance.
Yes.
The other 2 waived, yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. So he's last. That's fine. Do you understand your rights, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Howard, this is position 5. Can I have the history, please?
First.
Okay. All right. Ms. Falk?
Your Honor, per
Oh,
your
I'm
court
sorry.
request, if we can.
Can we please turn off the live screen, live